how much exercise do you really need after 65? And more importantly, are you doing enough? Because I thought I had a pretty good idea. I walk every day. I've exercised in some capacity most of my life. But when I looked at the official guidelines, there were a couple of things that I wasn't expecting. Now, before we go any further, a quick caveat. We're all different. And I'm now 66 today, in fact. And my knees, shoulder, elbows certainly aren't what they used to be. So this isn't about telling you what you should do. It's about looking at what the evidence says and working out what that means for people like you and I. And there is a recommended amount. I'll come to that later in the video. But first, there's something more important. What actually counts as exercise? So, what does count as exercise? I think this is where we sometimes make things too complicated. Exercise doesn't have to mean running. It doesn't have to mean joining a gym. And it certainly doesn't mean spending hours lifting heavy weights. A brisk walk can count. Cycling definitely counts, as does swimming. Anything that gets your heart beating a little bit faster and makes you breathe a little bit harder can count. And there's a simple way of judging it. You should still be able to talk, but you'd probably struggle to sing a song. That's what they call moderate activity. And here's the important bit. What might be moderate for me may not be moderate for you. And because we're all starting from different places. For somebody who's quite fit, a gentle walk may not do very much at all. For somebody who's been inactive for years, that same walk could be a proper workout. So don't judge what you're doing by what somebody else is doing. So, is walking enough? Now, this was the question that I was particularly interested in, because I walk every day, usually several kilometres. It's part of my life, effectively, part of my routine. And if you'd asked me what the best exercise was as we get older, I'd probably have said, keep walking. And I still think walking is one of the best things that we can do. It's free, it's simple. You don't need a gym membership. You just put your shoes on and you go. But here's what I discovered. Walking on its own isn't the whole answer, because as we get older, there are other things that we need to protect. And one of the biggest things is strength. So why does strength matter so much? Well, we naturally lose muscle as we get older. We all know that. And when I say strength, I'm not talking about looking good in a t-shirt. I'm talking about everyday strength. Getting out of a chair, climbing the stairs, carrying the shopping, lifting a suitcase, getting down on the floor, and more importantly, being able to get back up again. We've all struggled, right? Because those things matter, because eventually strength isn't really about fitness, it's about independence. And the official guidance recognises that. It doesn't just tell us to get our heart and lungs working. It also recommends strength work. Now that might mean weights, resistance bands, body weight exercises, exercises at home. Even repeatedly standing up from a chair can become a strength exercise. You don't need to become a bodybuilder. You just need to give your muscles a reason to keep working. And the recommendation is to do some form of strength work on at least 2 days each week. But there's another thing that we should be working on as well. The thing that I probably neglect more than anything is balance. And I'll admit, this is probably something I haven't even thought about previously. When you're younger, you don't really think about balance, do you? It's something that just happens as you get older, as you grow up. You just have it. But as we get older, falls can have much, much, much bigger consequences. So maintaining balance becomes important. That might mean simple balance exercises, standing on one leg with something solid nearby to hold on to, yoga, tai chi, anything that makes you control your movement and stability. And this is where I realised something. I could walk 6 kilometres in the morning and think, that's me done. I've exercised, cracking. And yeah, I've done that. But I haven't necessarily covered everything. Walking is excellent, but walking alone isn't the complete answer. So we've got aerobic exercise, we've got strength, we've got balance, which brings us back to the question that I started with. How much should we actually be doing? So, here's the number. According to the UK Chief Medical Officers, and I appreciate this might differ in other countries, physical activity guidelines, people aged 65 and over should try to be physically active every day. And for moderate aerobic activity, the target is 150 minutes a week. So 2.5 hours a week. Now, that might sound quite a lot, but if you break it down, it's just over 20 minutes a day or 30 minutes on 5 days of the week. Suddenly that doesn't sound so intimidating, does it? And remember, that doesn't mean running. A brisk walk can equally count. As I said before, cycling can count, swimming can count. There are plenty of ways of getting there. But the important thing is that 150 minutes isn't the entire recommendation. We're also talking about strength work and balance. So simply hitting a number on your watch doesn't necessarily mean you've covered everything, does it? So what happens if you're nowhere near your 150 minutes? Now this might actually be the most important part of the whole video, because somebody watching this will be thinking, Dave, I'm nowhere near that. And that's okay, because the guidelines also make something else very clear. Some activity is better than none. If you're doing nothing at the moment, then forget 150 minutes. Start with 10. A 10-minute walk, a few exercises at home, whatever you're capable of doing. Then perhaps 10 becomes 15, then 20, Because one of the worst things we could do is make the target so big that we never even start. Going from nothing to something matters. And then you build from there. One of the key things, I think, is that you have to learn to adapt your exercises. Don't just stop them. And it's something I've had to learn myself over the years. I used to run, but I don't anymore. My knees have taken enough punishment over the years, so I walk. At the moment, my shoulder is giving me problems, and my elbow is giving me even more problems. So some of the exercises that I was doing in the gym aren't sensible right now. That doesn't mean that I stop exercising. It means that I adapt the exercise that I do. And I think that's an important distinction as we get older. Stopping one form of exercise doesn't mean stopping exercise entirely. Running doesn't work anymore. Walk. If one exercise hurts, find another. If you can't do what you did at 40, stop expecting yourself to. You're not 40, neither am I. The objective has changed. So what does fitness mean to me now? At 66, I'm not particularly interested in proving how fit I am. I want something much more. I want something much more useful. I want to keep walking my dogs. I want to travel. I want to be able to carry my camera gear. I want to spend a day walking around a race circuit, taking photographs. I want to climb stairs without thinking about it. I want to get down on the floor and know that I can get back up. I want to keep doing things for myself. That's what fitness means to me now. In effect, it's independence. So perhaps instead of asking, how much exercise do I have to do? There's a better question. What do I still want my body to be capable of in 10 years from now? Because whatever your answer is, that's what you're exercising for. So then, I'd be interested to know where you are with this. How much exercise you're doing now, and has the way that you exercise changed as you've got older? Let me know in the comments. And if you're over 65 and you're trying to make the most of the years ahead, please consider subscribing to the channel. This is the Over 65 Reset, and whatever you do, don't slow down.